Hello, welcome back. I'm Charles Showalter. You're listening to the Union Edge Laborers Talk Radio. Thank you very much for tuning in. We appreciate it. Please follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just type in The Union Edge. Also, folks, don't forget, if you want a free app for your tablet or your smartphone, go to theunionedge.com. It's there on the right-hand side just for you. Right now, we're talking with Dan Duncan, who's president of the Northern Virginia Area Labor Federation. Dan, welcome back to the program.
Hey, Charles, and welcome back yourself. Glad to be on.
Always a pleasure, Dan. Always a pleasure. You know, my goodness gracious sakes alive. You're jobbing it out there. You're getting people motivated, getting them out into the field. Precinct walks are done for a little bit, yeah?
Very little bit. We've got a special election coming up later this summer that we just found out about. One of the members of our House of Delegates, a good friend, is stepping down to take a different job, and we'll be busy getting people out probably before Labor Day.
Yeah, there you go. It always seems to happen that way, but that's a good thing. But you got a couple of things coming up. First of all, you know, you guys have been working very hard on making sure that everybody in Northern Virginia and Virginia as a whole is getting covered by medical coverage, but that's not quite working out the way we want. What's going on?
Well, as made national news a couple of weeks ago, in fact, the day before Eric Cantor was defeated in his primary, we had a state senator resign and basically toss the state Senate to the Republicans. Governor McAuliffe was in a battle with the House Republicans. He wanted to expand Medicaid in the state through the Affordable Care Act and provide 400,000 Virginians who don't have insurance with health care. He was willing to stand his ground as long as he had the Senate. When that one senator resigned, 1 week before the showdown was to take place, he didn't have a chance to fulfill the campaign promise. So across the state, there's been a series of candlelight vigils, and tonight in Arlington, we're having one to mourn the loss temporarily of health care for 400,000, but to stand in solidarity with those people who desperately could use the health care help.
Dan, you know, this is the same kind of situation we're seeing in Pennsylvania and some other places, which is kind of shocking to me, and I'll tell you why. You know, first of all, it's 400,000 people who are not going to be burdening the taxpayers by having to go for county assistance. That's one thing, okay? The other thing is, you know, there's a lot of jobs wrapped up into this, and I don't understand how your state legislature can just simply willy-nilly let those jobs go away. Do they not understand how many jobs this is creating, what kind of tax base this is going to create for the state? I mean, what's going on there? Is this just...
That's been put out. Folks have been doing that, and as you and I have discussed on the show before, I'm a member of a Lions Club here in Virginia, where we volunteer. Lions of Virginia volunteer to help out at a place called Weiss County, which is right in the heart of Appalachia, down in southwestern Virginia, where for one weekend these folks see a doctor for the only time they can. It's free health care, all this for teeth, for glasses, all this. There's a 5-letter name that's associated with all this, and the reason why they don't want to do it, and it's spelled OBAMA.
Yeah, you know, but sometimes just simply hating the other guy and not doing anything for the people that are the real decision makers, and that's the voters, that's going to get you in trouble. And I would not be surprised at all to find out that your Republican constituents and your Democratic constituents are kind of equally miffed about this, and they're going to let everybody know what they're thinking in November.
Well, for our folks, Virginia is one of those odd states in more ways than one, in that we have the state elections next year, in the odd year. So we have the federal races this year, but we're going to see what's going to happen with the legislature next winter. They meet January, February, and March, and then the race is on to inform people, because all 100 seats in the state house and all 40 seats in the Senate will be up. And 20 seats in the Senate will be up. But we're going to get the word out. We're going to let folks know how much this is costing you, how much this is coming out of your pocket, and it's already tax dollars you've already paid.
Right. You know, this is a no-win situation for those people that are standing in front of the freight train, so to speak. And I think their whole hope, their whole best interest is that the taxpayers and the voters forget about this. I promise to help you in every way we can to make sure that they don't, Dan.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And if we can, tonight's vigil, by the way, is going to take place in front of the Arlington County Courthouse. And Arlington County is a good Democratic stronghold, and they've allowed us to meet there tonight at 8:30 p.m. at 2100 Clarendon Boulevard in Arlington. So folks will be showing up starting about 8 o'clock. We hope to have a good crowd there tonight. Again, that's at the Arlington County Courthouse, 2100 Clarendon Boulevard in Arlington.
Absolutely. And Dan, you guys are participating in the 4th of July parade, correct?
Oh, well, after hard work, you got to have a little fun.
Yeah.
And come Friday, we'll be down in Dale City, which is in Prince William County, and in our Union Church with our Union banners and proudly marching in the 4th of July parade. We have a great time doing that. And I don't know who has more fun, the kids who get all the candy that we toss out or the people who actually march in the parade and just see everybody and wave and have a great time.
It's okay, Dan. You can say the kids tossing the candy.
No, we toss the candy to the kids. Trust me.
Yeah.
Now, if they don't like the candy, they toss it back. So anyway.
Duck. Yeah, but hey, Dan, you are with the Seafarers, and I wanted to ask you a question. There's been a little bit of a dust-up when it comes to transporting American food to those who need it. Are you guys making any progress on that?
We're still working behind the scenes with it. We're still working to try to get some movement on that as well to restore the fact that American crews taking American grain and food products to people in need. It's no bill or anything yet, but our folks are still working behind the scenes with members from both aisles. I mean, this is a case where it's not one party versus another, as we're seeing in the Virginia legislature. This is a case where some folks think that it'd be better to give money rather than to give the aid, and we have members of both parties feeling that way, as well as members of both parties going, no, it needs to be done by Americans.
Yeah, it needs to be done by Americans. It's American products. It's American grains and food products. It needs to be transported by Americans. And, that's the right thing, and I think most people get it. You are getting support from both sides, right?
Absolutely. And by the way, people are going to start seeing in the news, if they haven't already, about the U.S. ship Cape Ray. That's crewed by American mariners, Union mariners. That's the ship that's taking the chemicals from Syria and making them inert, or making them safe. On that ship, the people who are actually doing the work are machinists. So you've got American Union mariners as well as machinists on the Cape Ray, making the world a safer place.
There you go. It doesn't get any better than that, that's for sure. Dan, it's always a pleasure. One more time, give us a telephone number to get a hold of you.
At the Northern Virginia Labor, 703-750-3633.
Fantastic. Dan Duncan, President of Northern Virginia Area Labor Federation. I'm Charles Showalter. You're listening to the Union Edge, Labor's Talk Radio.
The Union Edge, Labor's Talk Radio, reminds you to register to vote, educate yourself on the issues, be part of the process.
Hello, welcome back. I'm Charles Showalter. You're listening to the Union Edge, Labor's Talk Radio. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. Please follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just type in the Union Edge. Also, folks, don't forget, if you have a smartphone or a tablet, go to our website, theunionedge.com, and download our free app for your device. It's great. It's there for you, and it makes it work. Right now, we're talking with the research director, Matt Gertz, for our Media Matters. Matt, welcome back.
Hello?
Hello, Matt. You there?
Yeah, you went out for a minute. Sorry.
Oh, sorry about that, man. Hey, listen, talk to us a little bit about Mr. Khatallah and the trial, military intelligence, and what's going on there. I don't think Fox News is getting it.
Unusual, I know.
Yeah.
So this is part of the basic idea that conservatives have that Obama is never doing it right. Even when he's accomplishing something that they support, there's always some reason why he didn't, check all of the boxes that they wanted.
Yeah.
So, Obama
if they had won the election, they could, check all the boxes they wanted.
Absolutely. But
just saying.
For them, it's, you ordered a SEAL team to take Osama bin Laden. They killed him. Why couldn't you capture Osama bin Laden? There's always something that they
should
come up with. And so in this particular case, Ahmed Abu Khattala is the suspected leader of the 2012 Benghazi attacks. And as I'm sure you know from talking to people from Media Matters, conservatives have been really hyped up about these attacks for the last 2 years. 4 Americans died in the course of those attacks, which is tragic, and it's important to figure out what went wrong and ensure that our diplomatic facilities are safe. But conservatives have tried to turn this into some sort of political scandal or cover-up or what have you for the last couple of years. So, I mean, you would think, one of their main criticisms of President Obama while all this was going on, that no one had been brought to justice.
But what I'm trying to say is you hit it on the head when you're saying that no matter what the president does, it's not good enough for the other side. And if he does nothing, well, that's not good enough either. You know, that's a very easy game for the Republicans to play. All you have to do is say whatever he does is wrong.
Absolutely, and it's one that they've been playing very well for the last 5 years.
Right.
So in the case of Khattala, we finally captured the suspected leader of the 2012 attacks in Benghazi that killed 4 Americans. You would expect conservatives to say, "Wow, this is great. We've captured this guy." Instead, the response has been, "Well, it's great that you captured him, but why are you trying him in a civilian court? Why can't he be tried in a military tribunal?"
Well, that's because terror, and Matt, let me stop you there for a second because, being ex-law enforcement, this is something that's very contentious for law enforcement officers and, our Bureau of Prison folks. First of all, our Bureau of Prison folks are ready, willing, and able to take care of that issue, no problem at all. And second of all, terrorism is a crime, okay?
Absolutely.
Treat it like a crime. Convict the person, put the person in jail for the rest of their life or whatever. Handle it that way. Get past all the political rhetoric and silliness, and let's get back to enforcing the law.
Absolutely. And I think that the fact of the matter is that the civilian courts are far better able to handle these cases. We have very experienced attorneys who are used to the process of prosecuting terrorists.
Right.
More than 200 terrorists have been prosecuted in U.S. federal courts since 9/11. This is something that we know how to do. We're very good at prosecuting people and making sure that they go away for a very long time when they're guilty of terrorist crimes. The military court system is not equipped to do this. This is not something that they regularly do. The military courts, regularly work, on cases involving members of the military.
Yes, they are in place to handle the Uniform Code of Military Justice. That's what they're in place to handle. They're not in place to handle other things.
Exactly. And so what we end up seeing is that while conservative media continues to criticize these sorts of federal trials, the fact of the matter is that, the record shows that the civilian courts are actually tougher on the suspected terrorists. People serve much longer sentences when they go through civil trials. And, this is also the foundation of our justice system, that we have a system that can handle all of these, all sorts of crimes, and kind of throwing that away to make a political point, which I think is what's going on here, since there isn't an actual logical argument that explains why a military tribunal would be better than a civilian court.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. Did any of our Republican friends ask the military, do they want to handle this case, or should it be passed to the civilian courts?
Yeah, I mean, when this comes up in hearings, the military always says, no, we don't. This is not. I mean, if we're ordered to do it, we'll do it. But this is not something that they want on their plate,
right?
And it's not something that they're best able to have. The interesting thing is about the particular segment that we talked about in the particular research item that we're talking about today. It's Steve Doocy, a co-host on Fox News' Fox and Friends, and Andrew McCarthy of the National Review, who are arguing that trying Khattala in a civilian court exposes classified military information to other terrorists. That somehow
no, it doesn't.
All of these secrets are going to get out. No, absolutely right.
No, it doesn't.
Absolutely right.
This is like saying, oh, we can't prosecute narco-terrorists, drug traffickers here in the United States because they might reveal classified military, no, you know what? This is much ado about nothing. This is silliness. Let the professionals in the military advise. Let the professionals in the civilian courts do their job. Let the professionals of the Bureau of Prisons do their job. They are very well capable of getting it done. And, let's get past this partisanship and let's get back to getting the job done. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. The ironic thing is that the guest in that segment is Andrew McCarthy, who was an assistant U.S. attorney who helped prosecute Sheikh Omar Abdul Rahman and the World Trade Center bombing. He helped get convictions of terrorists who bombed the U.S. embassies in Kenya and Tanzania. Like, he knows better than this. But for political reasons, because he's out selling a book on how Obama should be impeached. Others on the right find a way to make these arguments.
Yeah, follow the money. Follow the money. Hey, Matt, listen, we got to get going. Matt, how do we find out more about you and the research you're doing for Media Matters?
You can go to our website, MediaMatters.org.
And if you tweet it out, man, include us at The Union Edge. We'll retweet it for you, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, Matt, thank you. I'm Charles Showalter. You're listening to The Union Edge, Labor's Talk Radio.
You're listening to The Union Edge, Labor's Talk Radio. For more information about the show, go to theunionedge.com.
Right now in studio today, we've got Bernie Ausler, who's with Pittsburgh United. Bernie, welcome back.
Thank you, Charles.
Always a pleasure. Appreciate you being here. Now, Bernie, tell us a little bit about what Pittsburgh United's doing first. Appreciate it.
Well, Pittsburgh United is an organization of unions, faith groups, community groups, environmental groups that are really focused on economic development and jobs. As our region grows, we need to make sure that people can live in their communities and they can afford to support their families, and that's really what we focus on.
Right, absolutely. It's a good thing. Now, you have been working with a number of other organizations here in the greater Pittsburgh area. One of them of note, 32BJ SEIU Union.
Yep, it's the Union of the Janitors and Security Workers and a lot of other kind of service employees.
And what is going on right now? I understand some have been fired.
Yes, it's an outrageous act by the bully of Pittsburgh known as UPMC. As you know, and you've had on your show a number of stories about the efforts of the service workers at UPMC who are making $12 an hour that are trying to raise their standards of living and get a union, get their ability to collectively bargain. And a lot of us at Pittsburgh United organizations and many other groups in the region have been supporting those service workers' efforts to get a union, to get their lives improved. And in retaliation for that support from one of the organizations out there in the streets with the UPMC service workers, 32BJ's janitors have been fired by UPMC. Straight up retaliation for their support of other workers' rights. So it's an outrageous act. It violates every rule of agreement between labor and corporations in this community. And it's doubly outrageous to have a nonprofit that taxpayers support and
right.
that isn't paying any of its fair share in our community to do this to workers who simply were out there to support other workers.
When were these individuals fired?
They're fired yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yep.
Okay. So this is brand new, breaking news, so to speak.
Absolutely.
What, obviously 32BJ is going in to support their members. Other unions
Yep.
here in town are going in to support their members. What is going on and what's being done?
Well, the whole community, as we started reaching out yesterday to every organization that stands with working people, every organization is outraged. It's one thing to say, UPMC to say that, we don't want our workers to have a union. It's illegal, and the LRB is taking them to court a lot about that. But to then retaliate against workers that work in their buildings that already have a union, to fire them for their standing up for their brothers and sisters in other service jobs. Every organization we've talked to just finds this unacceptable behavior.
This is appalling. I mean,
It is.
how many people were fired?
It was just 10 in this building, but the deal that the janitors have is they don't work for the building owners. They work for contractors.
Right.
And so it's a very slippery slope that we're very, very concerned that this will be followed by many, many other janitors. It's unacceptable to lose 10, but it also is a slippery slope we're very concerned about.
Marty, when you're talking to people that have just found out about this, what are they saying?
Well, most of them are just, they can't believe it. They really are shocked that UPMC would go this far, that they would fire defenseless workers who are defenseless unless we get their backs. And
Right.
that's why we're going to be doing stuff beginning on Thursday this week to demonstrate that all of Pittsburgh is outraged at this.
Right. And I want to be very clear about this, okay? They were fired by UPMC. They were out on the picket line with their brothers and sisters.
Yes.
This has nothing to do with the quality or caliber of work they were doing inside the facility when on duty. This is based on, in your opinion, their off-duty, off-time activities.
Yes.
They're protected activities.
Yes.
i.e. right of association.
Yes.
Okay.
The only correction I would make is that, again, these janitors don't work directly for UPMC. They work for a contractor. What UPMC did was they canceled the union janitor's cleaning contractor, and brought in a non-union cleaning contractor. So building owners, they got one step away from direct responsibility. But we know that in canceling this contract from the union contractor, that same union contractor cleans other buildings for them. Some of these workers have been, or actually many of these workers have been at least 10 years working in that same building. Contractors come and go. These workers have been doing this work for a long time. These are doctors' offices. These are well-trained and experienced janitors bringing in a whole new workforce. Honestly, when I go to Shadyside Hospital, I don't want the doctors for Shadyside Hospital's offices being cleaned by janitors that aren't experienced and well-trained. So there are real questions about the quality of service that are going to be there. But for our perspective, these are workers who need these jobs, who are really, really, very much at the mercy of UPMC. We can't let UPMC get away with this.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. And again, Barney, anything else we can do, let us know. We want to keep up on top of this.
We
okay?
will certainly keep you updated, Charles. Thank you.
Barney Elsler of Pittsburgh United. I'm Charles Showalter. You're listening to the Union Edge, Laborers Talk Radio.
Union Edge Laborers Talk Radio. Supporting all working families and their communities.
Hello, welcome back. I'm Charles Showalter. You're listening to the Union Edge Laborers Talk Radio. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. Please follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just type in The Union Edge. Also, folks, while you have a chance, go to theunionedge.com. Sign up for our e-activist newsletter. If your organization can use some help, we'll get the word out for you. If you can help, we'll get the word to you. It's called solidarity. That's why we do it. Joining me in studio today, Rosemary Trump, former International Vice President at SEIU. Rosemary?
Hey, Charles. It's wonderful to be back with you. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure. Charlie is out on assignment. I'm not sure what assignment he's out on, but he's out on assignment. Sitting in with us today on the phone, Eleanor Smeal, founder and president of the Feminist Majority Foundation and two-time president of NOW. Eleanor, welcome to Union Edge.
Good to be with you both.
Always a pleasure. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Eleanor, this is the first time with us on the Union Edge. Rosemary and I, we're probably going to talk a little bit about Hobby Lobby and some of the other correct me if I'm wrong. It seems like there's a bunch of old white guys on the bench at the Supreme Court that just don't get it.
Well, not only that, the Republicans.
Yeah.
I think we got this 5-4 decision on Hobby Lobby that favored corporations over women. It's a conservative, pro-business decision, if you want to look at it that way.
Right. And, I kind of fell back on this whole thing. Well, Hobby Lobby, if you don't want to provide some kind of service that every other business in the country is providing, don't go into business. If you don't want to work in a union shop, don't work for the company. I'm sorry. That's, where I come down on this.
Well, the other thing is that, how can anybody with a straight face in many ways say it's freedom of religion to get the boss his freedom of religion and take it away from all the employees? I mean, it is just preposterous. I don't understand that. I don't even know. I think freedom of religion is being used because they just took it away from the women employees and the spouses of the men employees.
All right.
Well, corporations, now that they have religious liberty, but their employees do not, it's a disastrous. It's a disastrous decision, particularly for women workers,
right,
as well as male workers, because if there is a pregnancy that was not planned, it puts additional pressure on the entire family. And the fact that birth control is now going to be limited or have limited access, perhaps for financial reasons or other reasons, it really is a disastrous decision for the economic well-being of that particularly individual family. And what I really don't understand, Allie, is that, the Supreme Court pretends to be concerned about the individual's rights, but how is it that it doesn't apply for the individuals who work at Hobby Lobby? And it only applies, it's favorable for, in fact, the corporation or the business concern. That's the issue, and it's an outrage, and hopefully we can, at some point, get it either legislated away or overturned in the near future.
I think it will not stand the test of time, because now you're into, which corporation that's limitedly held, which means it has to be, the way I understand it, like 5 shareholders and it's not publicly traded. But which of these corporations have sincere religious beliefs? Who in the world's going to make these decisions? And why do their employees, their religious beliefs, not count? So you're going to have to check out the religious employee, your boss's religious beliefs, or the owner's religious beliefs. So I just don't think it's going to stand the test of time. But in the meantime, some women are going to have a harder time accessing birth control.
Right. And
that's the key.
I have to ask this question, Eleanor. I mean, this is maybe being a little facetious, but maybe not so much. What about Rastafarians? They believe that smoking marijuana is part of their religious beliefs. What about some of the first American tribes here in the United States where they believe that using peyote is part of their belief? And what happens if I create my own religion tomorrow? It says that everybody must give me all their money. And I hate to be facetious, but there's some issues there. If you're going to honor one religion above all others, I think we have some constitutional issues too.
Well, the ridiculous thing about the Alito decision is he says, well, there isn't going to be a slippery slope. It won't lead to not covering blood transfusions, and it won't lead to other vaccinations being denied. Well, what do you mean? Some people have, some religions have concerns about blood transfusion. So basically, what are they doing? Are they only picking on women? What they said is this was narrowly construed and only applied to birth control, in essence. Because, it just shows you that somehow they just don't think women's rights matter. I mean, I really feel if this was something that involved men, this would be a different decision.
I think you're absolutely right. I think you're absolutely right on that. Absolutely. Rosemary, it's always a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles.
And we'll talk to you again soon.
Good talking to you both.
Thank
you very much. Eleanor, do us a favor, stay on the line. I'm Charles Showalter. You're listening to the Union Edge, Labor's Talk Radio.